thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us. So we're just going to kick off with some housekeeping here. So we plan, as Ralph said, we plan to record this and distribute it on our website to give everyone the experience and the understanding of what we're trying to achieve here at AecHive. So obviously you can find more information on our website, and please, at the end, we're distributing a survey in which it'd be great to have your involvement with, and that's available now at survey.aechive.net. So if you are good at multitasking and you want to start filling that in as we speak, it'd be great to have your thoughts. So our agenda today is just give an introduction on who's speaking here on behalf of AecHive, a bit of background about the AecHive and how it came about. Ralph's going to give us an insight into what community and innovation means in the context of the AC industries, and then we're going to discuss the platform development to date and the framework as it stands today, and before opening it up to the floor to discuss. So my name is John Egan. I'm director at BIM Launcher. I've been involved in the construction industries pretty much since I was born. So yeah, I mean, we also have Karen on the line.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm here. So I am on the operations side of the business, and if you do have any input with us in the future, there's a good chance you'll have a bit of correspondence with me as well. So
very good. I'm Ralph Montague. I'm a director at AecHive. We, I suppose, have been very interested in a different type of AEC community for many years, and so very excited to be part of this this project to drive innovation and change for the better.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose maybe I'll just carry on, yeah, and just, I suppose, John and I have had lots of discussions and just observing the landscape in the architecture, engineering, construction sector, and I suppose on the one hand, there's a lot happening and there's a lot changing, and the industry is evolving at speed. But on the other hand, I suppose it's fair to say, if we had to look back 10 years, a lot hasn't changed, and some, what most people thought would be obvious things that the industry would adopt didn't adopt. And so but just if you take a broad look, I suppose we continue to see a lot of fragmentation in the industry, lots of different interesting solutions, but all operating in sort of siloed environments. There are many special interest groups doing incredible work, but again in little pockets. We see we see support for innovation maturing now. A lot of investment funds are looking at prop tech and contech as kind of the new ventures to invest in, and construction being one of the, let's say, the least digitized out of all the sectors, according to McKinsey, which means there's lots of opportunity. And even in the solution space, we see a lot of disconnected solutions and communities. So we continue to see silos, and I think one of the things we want to address with this project is to break down silos and connect people.
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at the platforms that are available for the construction industry and innovation within the construction industry today, these, namely my involvement in them so far has included running the AEC Hackathon here in the west of Ireland in Galway, which was fine. It had its pros and cons, but you know, Ralph and I had been speaking about running the AEC Hackathon in Dublin this year, and something just didn't sit right with me about it. And you know, it's akin to a firework. So you have this rush of ideas and this explosion of ideas at the weekend, over the weekend, and everyone dissipates and often never speak with one another again. So we thought, you know, is there an alternative here? And obviously, you know, we did a critical analysis of the AEC Hackathon, and we could see that the good parts were that we were able to bring together the community, this community of like-minded people from various different backgrounds and sectors within the industry. And then obviously the bad parts, which was that, you know, there was no continuation of the community between hacks. And often for a host that had to actually take on the task of organizing this hackathon, there was very little support from the organization themselves. And the other thing was that the structure was all based around this kind of competitive nature of projects that would often lead to 12 hours of people putting all their effort into a project, and then after the presentation the next day, it was often that was the last that the attendees actually put into the project before going back to their day jobs the next day. So we also studied other innovation platforms from our industry and beyond. So here on the left, we can see that this is the Portishead, the office that I work for on a daily basis. This is the from a game called Doom. So this community pretty much has been together for the last 20 years, and they've been bringing the same community back to the one place to have a game jam over the course of a weekend. And on the other hand, then you have Smart Geometry, which is an extremely formal and structured event with high exclusivity, often for people, academics and people that are, really pushing the boundaries and in terms of innovation in the industry. It's a very expensive event, namely because it's held over a week. So we kind of weighed up all of these options and thought, would there be something, a sweet spot right in the middle? And what we came up with was this concept of a swarm. So a swarm is pretty much a physical event, or an event where it's the physical meetup of the community. It's not so descriptive that we say that, look, you guys need to have this size of a venue, this size number of participants, and we try to treat this swarm as if it's a framework in which anyone could pretty much take and replicate around the world. And within in the swarm, we have this concept of clusters, which are essentially projects. So these clusters are projects that aim to target a specific area of innovation within the industry. So this can be anything from hacking a new solution to making something, to teaching a workshop, say. So many benefits of these clusters include the self-governance of of an individual cluster by its cluster leader. And the idea being that the AecHive can facilitate these clusters, and the AecHive community can facilitate these clusters by providing them resources and the various different requirements that these projects need to get up and going.
Yeah, so I'll come in here and just talk a little bit about innovation. We had an excellent presentation, I think, at the last Swarm event in Dublin from Paul Colleen from the NSAI, who spoke about the ISO standard 5602 on innovation management. Which what I found interesting about that is, a lot of people kind of think innovation is just something that happens by accident, or it's just sort of informal ad hoc exploring of ideas, which is one type of innovation. But if you look at it on a graph of the performance of the innovation, it would probably be on the lower end, but it has the advantage of having limited constraints. And then on the upper end, you can have innovations directed by companies, which is very rigid and directed, and set budgets and set times, and and again, in terms of performance of that type of innovation, it might not achieve the best results. So this, in developing this standard, the ISO group came up with this sort of systematic innovation in the middle, which is organized. In other words, there's strong leadership and planning, that there's a context within which innovation happens. There's a defined process. There's activities that support innovation rather than hinder it, and there's a process of evaluating the innovation. So I thought this was a good model to use when we think about clusters and we think about swarms. That it's not just a group of people coming together in a very loose ad hoc way, but it's not over-directed either, and that we sit somewhere in the middle. But innovation doesn't happen by accident, so it is deliberate and intentional. So I think that would be a good model for us to follow. Do you want to move on there, John?
Yep.
So, and taking this a bit further, within that standard, they describe all the sort of elements of a good innovation project, within context, with strong leadership and vision and strategy, and that there's a cycle of that innovation goes through, of doing something, checking if it's working, making improvements, planning. And so with that in mind, we thought that the traditional hackathon model, where people come together for a weekend, form teams, and try and do all of this in one day, was a bit much. So we thought this idea of extending the idea into clusters which could form before swarms and do some of the planning work and even some initial investigation work, that during the swarm they would go through these cycles of coming up with concepts, validating concepts, testing, checking, even at the swarm event, presenting what you're doing to the wider community and getting feedback to validate what it is you're doing, and then taking the idea further. So don't drop the idea at the end of the swarm event, but as a group, as a cluster, that you'd continue to work after the swarm and even work up towards the next swarm. If you want to move on there, John. So that was innovation. Yeah, so that's the one part of what the community is trying to be. The other part is community. So I thought I'd sort of talk about this idea of the tribe, because the idea that you have to work alone, at a desk with your headphones on in a cubicle and never talk to anybody, and that life is completely like success in life is completely up to yourself, is a very modern idea, and it's not the way communities and societies actually work. And in fact, if you think about the sort of tribal idea, is that if you try to wander off from the community on your own, you'd probably get eaten alive. So, community is really a place where people can work together and work, towards some common interests, and that in that sort of environment, people do better. That working together actually is better than working alone, and that what you do for the good of the tribe is actually good for everyone. Everybody benefits. So a rising tide lifts all boats, and that kind of thing. And also within this environment, as individuals, everybody has something to contribute. So if you're not a technical person, but maybe you've got some sort of good experience in the industry, you can contribute experience. Whereas if you're a very technical person, you can contribute technical skill. So it doesn't matter. If you look at the way tribes and societies function in general, is that you have all sorts of people, from the elders, the leaders, the fathers, the mothers, the useful people, the children, people that are skilled, people that are unskilled. Everybody is actually contributing in some way to the success of the tribe. So again, I don't think community happens by accident either. So I think it has to be deliberate and intentional. So both innovation and both community are active things we want to pursue.
Okay. So in order to achieve all of the things Ralph's just discussed, we feel that it's very important that we have a technology support platform to support the growth of both innovation and community. And so as a result, it's helped define our vision. So like what we're trying to create here is a sustainable community of innovators that can work together and grow and increase the pace of innovation together. So what we think is important is that the AecHive platform provides a concentration of community resources that can help projects grow from concept through to product and service maturity. And in order to do this, we hope to leverage the community to actually to work together and grow this infrastructure. So like our vision is based around a 5-year growth plan. So what we're looking to achieve is 50,000 members across 50 countries, with swarms everywhere. So we would like to achieve 50 plus swarms a year with 250 cluster projects per year, and really we'd like to see them go the full life cycle from concept through to product service. So since we began, we've held one swarm in Dublin in November just past, where we had 7 clusters and 35 participants, and our social media following is 260 members on LinkedIn and 700 members on Twitter, with 45 members on Slack. So we're early stage, but we're looking to grow that. So the development principles around this platform. So we've chosen to use an open source development model, where we would, AecHive would be the main project contributors. So we would, it's our role to actually ensure that there's an open and transparent platform development process. All of the content on our platform is open and accessible to everyone, regardless of position or location around the globe. We hope to achieve growth through the community. So if you like, the AecHive platform is itself a cluster on the platform. And obviously we aim to be provide an open and welcome environment to everyone that wants to come through and connect with others, learn, share, and build. So what we have to date is the platform that, we have a web page. So this is like the portal or the entry point for everyone into the AecHive platform. On that, you will find information about the swarms, so past swarms, future swarms, how to get involved. We also have a GitHub page or team, if you like, where we see as the central resource library, if you like, for like other open source resources that are available. So it's pretty much an amalgamation of all of the resources provided by the platform. And then we have various different communication channels, including a Slack group, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So that's what we have available today. But the future is what we're interested in talking about. And we appreciate the platform is just a framework, but what we're looking for is really to get feedback from you and the community. And, like, what is the components that you think is important for you to innovate, and that's really what we're trying to make this platform all about. So, what we're we've just made a list of ideas here. Some of those might suit some of you, others, other ideas might suit others of you. But really, what we're looking for is part of the survey as well, is to give us feedback on what it is you're looking for.
If I could chime in there, John, just I think what demonstrates the success of a platform is when people want to go back there every day. So if you're somebody who uses Twitter on a daily basis, like you go there for a reason, something makes you want to go there every day, or if you use LinkedIn as a platform. So I suppose what we'd like is to create a platform specifically for the AEC community and specifically for people who want to innovate in that space and people who want to connect with other people like that. And so one of the questions in the survey is, what do you want, is if people that are on the call could think about, what would make you want to come back to this platform on a daily basis? And if you can describe that, what would help your business, what would help your career, what would help, and if you could describe that for us, and if we could work together to build that, I think that would be to everybody's benefit. So I suppose just to end off, is what we're really looking for is active participation. I think a lot of people will look in as observers, and that's absolutely fine. But what we really need for a strong community is active participation, and by that I mean actually doing something. So some of the things people can do is join the mailing list, which means we can contact you if there's upcoming events or any offers, etc. Follow the the community on the various social media channels, and see what's happening, but also share. So I mean, at the moment there's 15 people on this call. If 15 people went and told one other person about this initiative, that's 30 people. So whatever way you prefer doing that, you can talk to people in person. Obviously, you can invite people to join the LinkedIn group or the Twitter or the GitHub. You know, you can, if you see something interesting about AecHive on any of the channels, you know, if you retweet it, that's effectively a small action, but from your part, and on your part, but it's also sharing what we're doing with everybody who follows you. Participate. So, you know, take 2 minutes and make a comment, or, you know, if you have something to contribute or start a discussion. When it comes to the clusters, if you give some of your time or your skill, or give some advice, or maybe you have some space in a building that, you know, to host a cluster, or if people need some equipment, you know, help out in whatever way you can, or even sponsorship, or etc. But then you'll also get, I think anybody who participates will get something out of it as well, and whether it's learning something new, or making new contacts, or you know, developing new business opportunities. You know, so I think there's a give and a get in all healthy communities. Definitely communicate with the AecHive team as to what you want and how you think we can help. And it, you know, doesn't matter what the question is. There are no stupid questions. Like we're trying to make things happen. Definitely enjoy. We want people to enjoy this this community and have fun and create new things, and be at the leading edge of change in the AEC sector. So have fun, and then hopefully celebrate as well at different events what's been achieved, and through social media, so other people can see what the results of a healthy, strong community, innovation community is.